High school, I was interested in science, and actually I came to U of I as a forestry major. However, when I was a sophomore in high school, I live in the Chicago area. You didn't get to see geology that much up there, so geology was kind of something I didn't think about that much. But as a sophomore in high school, I was in the science club, and we got to do a field trip to a town called Coal City, Illinois. And we went on a Saturday, and I remember taking a bus there, and I stepped off the bus and found part of a fern fossil. And I had never really thought of that career, but that really started to make me think about it. And in my first semester down at U of I here as an undergrad, I switched into geology. In college, they try to teach you how to write. And what I didn't realize when I became a geologist, I asked people a lot of times, what does a geologist do? And they say, oh, you go out and look for fossils and rocks. And I actually know very few geologists that get to do that. There's a lot of writing involved. I didn't realize how much writing. And I don't think actually that undergrad college really taught me how to write properly for this job. I learned it through the School of Hard Knocks. I did take a number of classes in college, and one of them was mineralogy, and I was your typical undergrad who thought, why am I taking this class? I'm never going to use it in real life. And in my mineralogy class, I was doing something called X-ray diffraction. And what you do in that is you take a mineral and you make it into powder, you run an X-rays over it, and you get a diffraction trace off of that. And from that trace, you can decide what minerals are in there. Now, my first job at the survey was doing desulfurization of coal. I was in the geochemistry section. And what did they have me doing but X-ray diffraction of minerals that, as we were desulfurizing pyrite, or desulfurizing the coal, we were trying to see what the pyrite turned into, and they had me doing X-ray diffraction, something that I swore I would never, ever, ever use again, and here I am using it again. So, green careers, I think, are the wave of the future. I think with all the problems we have in the world right now, the climate change, whether it's man-induced or nature-induced or a combination of the two, which is what I think it is, shortages of water, contamination problems, pollution we're putting in the air, I think we have to more and more deal with that. In my lifetime, water right now, for instance, is a really critical issue. And we have people living in Arizona and LA Basin, and those are deserts. Water issues are already a big issue there. In 20 years from now, 50 years from now, they're going to be critical. I'm not exactly sure how people are going to deal with that. So if you want to have a job, go into green, and I think there's going to be jobs out there. There's a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of issues that have to be dealt with. What I do for a job is environmental site assessments. And I'm funded by IDOT. So we go around the state and we try to find sites that potentially have contamination or do have contamination. And through the work that we do, workers can, if say we find a contaminated site, IDOT can then decide whether they want to just deal with it by putting workers in, say, the proper protective equipment, or they want to avoid it altogether. We're not going to do that project because there's too much contamination, or they're going to remediate the site, in which case they also don't want to buy the site if it's really contaminated, because then the state would take on the liability. So what my job is green in the respect that we are actually finding sites that are contaminated, and they eventually will get reported to a regulatory agency, and they will be dealt with in one way or another, through remediation or different methods. When I do an environmental site assessment, one of the things we have to do is actually go out in the field and look over our site and see what's there. So it's not just doing research, and it used to be drilling into the ground. We don't do that much anymore. But on occasion, I'll be standing somewhere where I'm looking over the Mississippi River thinking, I get paid to do this. This is awesome. I've also been out in the fields in the middle of the wintertime on a drill rig. My feet are frozen, spend 10 hours, and I think, they don't pay me enough to do this. I think is important about survey work, geological survey work, is the opportunity to collaborate with others. On my project, we have geologists and engineers and forestry majors and environmental scientists, and we all work together. We're on a contract, so we do have a definite goal that we have to meet, but everyone has their input in one way or another. It is commonly asked for, people are constantly giving it, and we get all the different aspects of different people, for the type of work we do.